Hello, my name is Tommy Villarreal. You may not care about my name, but today I want to be talking about the topic that I really wanted to go over was at least the coronavirus. I think the personal issue as of right now is that there's two sides on the whole coronavirus thing, and I think it's those who are extremely terrified, afraid, and seem to do the craziest things ever because when you're afraid, you're terrified. And then there's other people that are just straight up doesn't see a problem with that or doesn't seem to care much. And on that standpoint, they might have a reason not to care because they may be immune to it. And is that correct? Is that should be? I want to disagree on why I honestly want to see why they should care, and at the same time why you shouldn't be too afraid or be too scared of things, because at the end of the day, the more fear you have in yourself creates more stress, and when it creates more stress for yourself, it damages your whole entire body. It's been shown many studies that, with stress comes more toxin inside your body to boil, and it will damage your immune system. So I think what my goal personally is to make you guys understand and become more self-aware about the virus and to see the better picture. And I think it's better to do that by going over history over many diseases and many viruses, because there's no denying the truth that we're in a pandemic. I mean, it's really bad enough to the point it's unexpected, it's unpredictable. So I think mainly the first virus I want to go over that compared to others is, I think, mainly the flu. I think the flu is the most popular choice to compare to because it's actually the same family as the coronavirus, and the coronavirus is part of the flu. I mean, it has the same effects and everything, but in truth is that in reality is that the flu is probably the most dangerous in my opinion. I think it's no different from the coronavirus. I just think the corona is much deadlier because it's been amped up. It's basically a drugged flu. It's basically another guy who has done nothing but steroids and is now insanely crazy and unpredictable. And that's what makes the virus really terrifying too, is that whenever it comes to flu or anything, it's really hard to see it. And I think that's why I won't use one of my examples as Ebola, because Ebola was the same situation. The thing is that Ebola was very noticeable. It was very easy to. It was the only way to get in contact was in full physical touch. But compared to the flu and the coronavirus and other viruses, or diseases. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to pronounce this. The flu and the coronavirus have it relatively on killing others at such an old age, but it's well known to killing young children and as well as teens because it's, again, unpredictable, and there's unknown ways of how you could truly get it other than touching, hand contact, not taking care of yourself. But to the point, let's get to the point, right? So the reason this first one I want to talk about is the flu is because flu is well known to kill millions or billions of people, not yearly, but it has killed millions a year. I mean, as it shows here in the studies from 2019 all the way to 2020, there has been already 55,000 flu deaths. That's a lot of deaths considering that's just 1 year, and who knows how many years the flu has slowly killed. I mean, for crying out loud, like 90 or 80% of children who don't take vaccines are killed by the flu. That to me is terrifying to know that we are requiring ourselves to stick a needle into our veins in order to reduce the chances of death from the flu. And to me, that's terrifying. And I think that's crazy. I mean, from the years 1888 or 1889, sorry about that, the Russian flu pandemic was probably one of the start of it, and it killed about 1 million flu deaths. And then in 1918, the Spanish flu pandemic was one of the worst ones. It was over 40 to 50 million flu deaths, including about 675,000 in the United States. The flu infected over half of the United world's population by the end of this pandemic. And in 1957, the Asian flu pandemic, over 1 million flu deaths, including about 69,800 in the United States. 1968, the Hong Kong flu pandemic, the 2009 H1N1 flu pandemic, and then that's a lot of I don't know if you noticed this, but to me it seems like every gap of 50 years or to 100 years there seems to be a pandemic. We seem to have that constant flood of something coming out of nowhere and saying surprise. It surprises you, and it's terrifying because it's a silent killer. And then I'll go over about the coronavirus in a second here. So I think this is my best example or best other disease out there, because it's literally related with the coronavirus. And so mainly I think what you need to understand is that again, as I told you before, is that it's better to be informed about other viruses out there and knowing if they're related. I mean, that's how doctors are able to find cures, is to relate other viruses to, relate if this is family member to the other virus member. And then I think a second one I really want to go to is because I think this one is important to talk about, because as we're having a situation to where it's a spreading rapid virus that's killing a lot of people. By the way, it's affecting a lot of people. I mainly want to talk about malaria. Malaria is not related with the. It's not related to. Sorry, it's not showing. I'm angry about this, but basically, it was showing stats on exactly every specific in every region of malaria deaths. And so you could still see the blue, but basically what's shown here is basically the decline rate of malaria deaths in the world region. It's a good news that's declining. And the reason why I wanted to show this is basically that is because the malaria, there's already a cure for it. It's a full-on cure, not a vaccine, a cure. And yet to this day, because of the money it costs to make the virus, because it costs them a lot of money just for the cure for it, because of that, it's still, even its decline, it's still there to exist. It's not a snap in the back and it's done. And the truth is, it's still killing thousands of Africans, because it's mainly in the region Africa. And basically, if you don't know what really malaria is, it's basically a mosquito-borne disease caused by a parasite. People with malaria often experience fever, chills, and flu-like illness. And it felt like untreated, and if left untreated, they may develop more severe, complication, which is death. And in 2018, the estimated 228 million cases of malaria occurred worldwide, and 405,000 people died, mostly children in the African region. About 2,000 cases of malaria are diagnosed in the United States each single year. And it's mainly vulnerable to pregnant women, travelers, and migrants. It's well known. Also, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm so sorry. CDC, if you don't know what that website is, it is a Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Is mainly its full name, but basically I highly recommend going to this website than any of my other sources, because they are well known to bring out any information on any single virus or disease. They're well known to keep in contact, as well as since we're having this pandemic, they're notifying anyone. They're updating their systems every single day. They're updating their map on accounts and cases and death rates. It's a great and trustable, and it's not biased, which it shouldn't be, but you'd be surprised how many websites are biased, even though they have nothing with politics. But mainly, I highly recommend going to this website, especially if you're needing the news on anything or understanding how to reduce the amount. It's a very good tool, in my opinion, and I highly recommend the website. This is basically where I found my information and a few other informations, but I mainly used other articles and other resources. Sorry, I didn't mean articles. But anyway, back to here. It has flu-like symptoms, but it's technically not related with the flu. It's more of a mosquito bite, basically, of a mutated mosquito bite, and that's basically what it is. But so I in general. again, I'm going to repeat this the third time. This isn't intended to scare you guys. This is to build up. So the reason I show the malaria chart of the death toll rate, and it's supposed to bring the good news, right? We do have a cure for malaria. Thank God for that one, by the way. It's still deadly, and it's still spreading. So it's going to build to my conclusion of why I'm showing you that. So now I think mainly what we're going to talk about is now the coronavirus. Right? So, again, okay, so basically, this is 10 to 19 of a percentage of death rates from the COVID-19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, and 80. So this is the big picture of why many people are terrified and why some people don't care. Is charts like these. It's basically information like these. It's because basically it scares the people who are who are 80 years old, and because their immune system isn't strong enough. It basically creates that motives and behind the scenes of how they feel. So, by the way, I'm being real and honest with you. I talked with many old people and see how they felt, and I think it's crazy to me that the majority of them I talked to seem to either not really care or just feel like they don't really want. They don't really see it as threatening, or even if they tell me this, is that even if I'm killed by the virus, I won't care. I think that's shocking to me, but that was just me going up to random old people and asking them that. It's not like I went up to them and then told them that, because that makes them comfortable. But the point being is that the people I talked to, and then relating that coronavirus topic, and then majority of teens or like 20s or 30s of my age, I'm 20, they seem to not care much, well, the thing is the reason why is because we're told over and over again that we have strong immune systems, so we're able to basically recover, and it's true. But here's the reason why, even if you are in your 20s, you should be afraid. You should, well, not say you should be afraid, but you should be careful still, because even in that case, it's still very deadly for others, and you could be a host for it. Not literal host, but you could be carrying the bacteria without knowing until the next 14 days, and you'll feel a little fever. And who knows how many people you touched, how many people you talked to, how many times you coughed without realizing it was it was basically a steroid flu, coronavirus, or the COVID-19, and who knows, and all that because you didn't really say much or care much or denied it, and that's being said. So, I mean, the COVID-19 is basically a disease that affects the respiratory tract infection. It's deadly as hell. It can affect the sinus, nose, windpipe, and lungs. That's the reason why. It's because the lungs and the windpipe are very essential parts. And if they're clogged up by this, it will kill you. It may give you a fever, cough, and shortness of breath. I've seen videos of what the coronavirus could do. It is disturbing what it could do. It freezes up the body, but that's because it's clogging up and it's hardening up your whole entire body. It is damaging your entire body. It's not as disgusting, but it is terrifying because it's, again, a silent killer. I recommend being careful, at least thinking safely, wash your hands, But the COVID-19 is something completely terrifying, because the fact is that it takes 14 days to know when you have it, at least. And in those 14 days, it can get worse for everyone else because you can carry it. So the reason I say that, even if you are a teen, even if you can recover from the virus, you have to realize is that, for one, that's kind of careless and kind of douchebag move. And for number two, it's going to destroy our economics. It's going to destroy everything we ever seek to, stow on. It's going to damage us for sure. And the reasoning is because if there's getting too many people getting sick, if too many people get sick, it's going to lead to a cause of a havoc. Because if all the medicine, if all the money is spent on just medicines and then there's nothing left, then what happens if there's more clogging up? There won't be any other care for it. And that just means people are just going to die. People are going to die because there's no recovery, no antibiotics, because all of it has been consumed by other people with the Covid-19. That's what is terrifying everyone, is because it's destroying our economics too. And mainly that's why us, STs, we have to worry about that. I think we need to become more prepared. And in conclusion to tips, pits, in conclusion is that don't become aware. The virus and everything I have told you, of everything I just said. Don't let it scare you. But at the same time, be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. And in these conclusions, again, be yourself, but in a way that is productive and safe for everyone. Don't think for yourself, think for others. Because at the end of the day, even if you are immune or even if you are terrified, don't let fear consume your mind, because consumption of fear will lead to your own death. It'll lead to your own bargaining, and it will only create chaos and make things worse. And the same thing for the youngs of us, the young kids, Be safe, man. Stay inside, because at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's not worth it going out there and saying, I did this productive. I mean, for crying out loud, for once in life, now being lazy inside your own home is actually, for some reason now, a good thing. It's a good thing now because of the COVID-19. And I also have tips I can give you. Also, Mr. Kroll, I know you're going to be seeing this. I know it's pretty terrible. It's just, cut to the chase. I got lazy on the sources. I forgot exactly how to platform it. But anyway, for my tips I can give you, and sorry I have not been showing my face. I wanted to show the screen because I feel like explaining it and then showing everything would work out perfectly. But my tips for you personally, or for anyone, is to maybe work out, have your own gym set, working out into your entire body. It strengthens your immune system. It keeps your heart rate at pumping, productive, and it just pumps up the immune system. It's a struggle. It's a very healthy thing. Eat fruits. Be careful on what you eat. Wash your hands every day. Take a shower every day. There's some good news. There's some good news I can say about the COVID-19, as it's a fact, is that for once in our life, we actually have a reason to now care for washing our hands. But we should have been doing that all along, time ago. And frankly, it's sadly not the case. It is. It is the case. It sadly is the case, personally. But it's we live in a time, and I think the reason I chose this topic in the first place, is because it's relatable. It's related to this situation, and we have to understand that. Well, again, as I said before, my name is Tom Villarreal. At the end of the day, when the serious things happen, I think truth at the end of the day, this will be, when this all ends, I feel it will soon. Not soon. It may take a while, but when we do find it, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of things that's going to change for sure. Our economic system's going to change. Our taxes are probably going to increase because of the whole situation. And it's just, the poor is going to get poorer, and I think the rich is getting richer. And that's sadly probably going to be the case. But anyway, I'm glad to present this. I wish there was some other ways I could talk to you guys. I do miss the old ways, but we don't know. We don't know how long this will be. I hope to just get everything done. Hope to make sure everyone stays safe. And stay inside. Please, care for others, not yourself, man. Because it's not a perfect time to do it. Anyways, gotta go. Peace.